set the simulation. I definitely want to do
every
that.
time your head violently collides with the vehicle. And that's why I got me some Shady Rays. They are high-quality sunglasses that look great, cost less, and they are durable. So durable that if you break or lose your pair, Shady Rays will send you a second pair for free. And what's better than getting one pair of Shady Rays and not worrying if you pair
of wanting things like fiscal. Hey, we were talking about
cock?
Ahoy, sailors. We're back on the news bright. The salty, ink black, endless news ocean where if you consume it, you die.
We were talking about how the new House rules and proposed IRS cuts, when you look a little closer, really seem to go against the GOP's usual tenets of wanting things like fiscal responsibility or small government. For example, replacing the IRS with 2 agencies, or making it harder and less efficient to pass legislation, or eliminating a rule that makes it easier to raise the debt limit, or, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, adding a new rule that extends legislation and also restricting measures to a single topic so they can't bundle in unrelated issues in the bill. That doesn't actually sound like a silly idea, but it does make the process even more time-consuming. Slowing everything down doesn't really make the government small, and ultimately, they really just want the government to do what they want it to do, no matter the size. Like how Ron DeSantis loves a limited government unless Disney hides a gay person in one of their films. The House rules, for example, are going after the bipartisan Office of Congressional Ethics and making it way harder for them to operate. Gee, I wonder why. This new rule conveniently removed every Democrat but one from the office. But they aren't doing this for small government, and in fact are just making a different ethics task force on top of this one, as well as a new subcommittee investigating the origins of COVID from a clearly partisan perspective. From what anyone can tell, the plan is to look into Biden's handling of the pandemic, since he was definitely the president when it all started, as well as grill a bunch of doctors and scientists and explore various conspiracy theories around origins, as well as go after vaccines. We don't know for sure what they will be up to, except to say that they brought on Marjorie thinks masks give you lung cancer and that COVID money went to critical race theory and was banned from social media for COVID misinformation. Green, to be one of their COVID sleuths. Wow, it's such a long nickname she has, but that's her choice. She's registered the nickname, and so we all have to use it. These limited government lovers actually have a bunch of new investigations that totally aren't desperate partisan attempts for attention and gain. This includes a look into Hunter Biden's laptop, our pullout from Afghanistan, and an investigation into the, quote, weaponization of the federal government, which is extremely ironic.
Commencing Atlas system suit visualization. Radiation protection falling.
Since they're literally weaponizing the federal government with most of their investigations. But I guess they think the FBI was unfair to them. And by unfair to them, I mean investigated their crimes. So they are going to use a bunch of resources to have a series of performative meetings about this. By the way, if you were wondering if the American people care about any of these issues, they don't. They super don't. But hey, that doesn't matter if they actually find something, right? So how are these investigations into Hunter's laptop and FBI bias against conservatives going?
Please excuse my language, this is a direct quote, but Chrissy Teigen referred to Donald Trump as a...
Okay. Free speech. And what happened after Ms. Teigen posted her tweet? What did the White House do? What did the Trump White House do?
From my understanding, the White House reached out to ask that this tweet be removed.
At the time, Twitter's policy included a specific example when it came to banned abuse against immigrants, as they specifically included the phrase, go back to your country or go back to where you came from.
Yo.
Yo.
What up, bro?
Nothing, man. You called me back, I was already asleep. What's going on?
Oh, you called me. I was calling you back.
No, but you called me first, and I had missed your call. Then I called you back to respond to my missed call.
Oh, yeah, we played phone tag for a little while there. Yeah, did you talk to Joe?
Not recently. Why?
Yeah, he got fired, bro.
You got fired?
Yeah.
Why?
They didn't want to put up with his shit anymore, bro. He was he was late on a daily. He was falling asleep in a room downstairs. He had talked to a couple of people certain sort of way, even though it wasn't anybody like high up. It was people that he wasn't treating coworkers right. It was just a lot of bullshit. And then I guess it all came to a head when he pulled the no call no show, I think. Yeah. Hey, he must be doing okay in order to consciously make that decision.
I mean, do people make that decision, or they just happen? I don't know.
Chris, we both work jobs, okay? Even though we hate the jobs, we make decisions to do them or not do them, right? Every day? Every day?
I mean, it's irresponsible, but I still don't think it's a decision. It's probably more a decision to maybe not get the type of sleep necessary to wake up enough time for your job. That's more of a decision, but I don't think anybody makes it. I mean, I'm not making excuses, I'm just thinking logically.
I think it's fair to say you make the decision if it's only one step removed. So I make the decision not to go to bed. I mean, I make the decision to go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. Therefore, I am making the decision to be late for work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I would say the decision making is probably more about not getting, like, you know what I mean? Or you know.
Yeah, but as an adult, we have to think about our jobs.
I get it.
So when you make that decision and you don't think about your job, you're whatever. No, I refuse that premise because he was told on multiple occasions that his lateness is a problem. It'd be different if it was just one time, or if it seemed to be like, oh, this happens on Mondays because he has late weekends. It'd be different like that. No, it happened every day, Chris. Every day. And they were telling him, like, yo, you need to chill.
What time do you have to get work?
7. On Saturday, he would have to be there at 8, but he wouldn't show up till 9:30 or 9 o'clock. Yeah. I just wanted. I didn't know if he talked to you or if you talked to him.
I was texting him today. We're talking about like
Yeah, no. Pretty fucked.
It's an interesting thing because, like, you know, I know that you and his relationship is kind of probably not great. I don't know if it's bad but like,
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really think I have a relationship with him. Huh?
Sometimes not having a relationship with somebody who should essentially be like someone within your circle, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but again, that was totally his choice. He chose not to. He chose not to have a relationship. So it kind of is what it is. Like,
I forget what the incident was that happened to me. I don't remember exactly. But
between who?
something about like some fighting thing or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, he got mad because I said I was just as physically active as he was. And then he refused to talk to me for 2 weeks. That's exactly what happened. No exaggeration. No, like, that's exactly what happened. We were talking about something where it was like, oh, training. And I'm like, yeah, but like being physically active or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, because I was physically active for most of my, like, I don't think there was anybody more physically active than me during my high school stint. And he was like, oh, I was more physically, I'm like, I mean, you were probably physically active. I'm not saying you weren't, but you weren't more physically active than me. Like, more physically active would have meant, like, you would have been running marathons, you would have been doing others, like, because I was doing a sport every single season, and in every single sport I played, first thing you did was run a mile every day. So, like, that's the bare minimum I did in high school on a daily basis was run a mile. I don't know any more high schoolers that are more physically active than that. But he wanted to get all butthurt and wanted to get all like pouty face and stormed out of the whole room about it and then literally did not talk to me for 2 weeks. But it is what it is. That's a choice he made. He wanted to be all like that, and now he doesn't work here, and he doesn't want to hit anybody back. We got people actually here caring about him, asking is he okay. Talking about they're texting him and they're not getting an answer. And I'm like, oh, I can't tell you anything, bro. He liked you more than he liked me. So if he's not talking to you, he's definitely not talking to me.
Well, I mean, when you explained to me, it did seem a bit extreme. I mean, like I said, I really don't remember the details of it because he called me like in a rage.
You never told me he did that, bro.
Huh?
You never told me he did that.
I don't really want to be like in a middle ground. It had nothing real. There was nothing that me telling help the situation. I just basically just like.
It would have enlightened me on his mindset a little bit better.
Yeah, but by the time I talked to him at the end of it, he was like before still. He just called me like maybe right after it happened, so it was like super like heated, I guess.
So it took him but that's what I'm saying. If I would have known his mindset, maybe it wouldn't have been 2 to 3 weeks of actual silence between us at work.
Well, what would it have been?
I don't know. Maybe I would have known more information if you would have told me something, and maybe you would remember something more valuable than what you're remembering now because it was fucking 3 months ago.
It was way more than 3 months ago.
Yeah, you're right. But that's exactly my point. Is the fact that you don't know anything that could have helped now because you don't remember anything. If you would have told me like, yo, Black, he was feeling, not Black, sorry, I refer to myself as Black because of these fucking kids. Yo, Glenn, I know, like, you guys had this little tiff, but this is where he's coming from. And then maybe I would have been like, damn, you know what, maybe I should go apologize because I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
I just felt like right now, you not playing sides is kind of like playing sides for him. A little bit. Because he spilled to you his side and you were just like, okay, well, that's the story.
Yeah, but I didn't agree with his side, so I was just kind of like, okay.
But even so, you were just like, yeah, that's the story. You didn't really like compare notes.
I just told him to just calm down, you know, and I was just being like, I feel like it's, you know, I didn't need to.
Chris, I'm not saying what you did was bad. I don't want you to misconstrue. I'm just saying that there could have been a better choice of actions.
I what I do remember. I don't feel guilty about shit.
I didn't say you felt guilty.
No, I'm just saying I'm not trying to defend myself. I'm just giving you the little bit of memory I have on the situation, if that is.
Yeah, and I'm just saying in the future, if something comes up like where you got boys beefing, it'd be better to try to like work it out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, considering that you and Joe were kind of like.
So now, are you trying to justify, or no?
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna.
No, I'm asking because right now you're trying. It seems like right now, before you were right. You were just giving me the facts, but now you're like, well, it seemed like you and Joe. That seems like a justification.
No, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not doing that. So no, I'm not. Like, I'm not gonna start to go down a rabbit hole of these types of things. It happened. I didn't say anything to you because I didn't feel like it would do anything. So that's that.
Yeah, and I just asked for the future for if you could, if it involves me, can you please loop me into it? That's it.
Okay. Sure. I don't foresee something like this happening again, but
I know, but like at the end of the day, you called me for help about him, and then something happens between me and him, and then you don't tell me about it. It just feels like I don't know. It just feels like it's like you're trying to help him.
How? Break that down. How am I trying to help him exactly?
You called me for help for him. Right? This all started because you called me asking for help for Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the first time me and Joe have a problem, he calls you saying, I have a problem with Glenn. You calm him down.
Yeah.
And then proceed not to tell me about the problem he has with me when I have to see him on a daily basis. And you don't see an issue with that. You see nothing wrong with that. You see that as a fine state of wait, hold on, let me finish. You seen that as a fine state of being for two of your homies to be in on a daily basis. Huh?
He said that he was just gonna let it go and be cool. After that, I don't know.
But you didn't check in. You didn't see. After that, you don't know what the fuck happened. That's what I'm saying, bro. It felt like, oh, you're just gonna take his side on it and just take his word for it and just be like, okay, yeah. Like, even though it involved me, you didn't bother to call, be like, yo, did something happen? Joe called me. Like, I'm just saying, like, if that was you and somebody I knew that I hooked you up with, I would try to mend bridges. That's all I'm saying. I would try to mend bridges.
This is a very valuable lesson to never do this again. Because this was my only concern about even trying to reach out to anybody about helping someone with a job. It's always to be like, it's always the wonder of like, shit, if something goes wrong, am I going to have to be the one that mediates between these two people? So it just seems
It's not, I mean, yeah, that's part of managing relationships.
Yeah, no, I'll just never do this again. It's not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfectly fine state of mind. We both did our best, and somebody just kind of dropped the ball with both of us. Chris, I understand that, but that's not what happened. I understand what you're telling me, and I understand what he told you, but that's not what happened. So you keep telling me what wasn't happening is not like, it's not something that's registering, and it's not something that I can relate with because it's not the reality that I lived with him. Nah, that shit ruined the whole like working relationship, honestly. To be honest, like I felt uncomfortable at the job. I just didn't really want to say anything and seem like a bitch about it. Yeah, because there was no talking between us. There was nothing to talk about. At least in his mind, in his brain, there was nothing to talk about because he cut off all contact with me. So it was like, okay, yeah, situation over with. I just won't talk to Glenn anymore, period. And then that really fucking hurt me. And it was just like weird that it was just like, yo, we were supposed to all be boys. Like we all like we know, like I was just like going over my head like, yo, like it was just a really weird, awkward situation. I'm glad it is over with now. And I just wanted to express to you just that, like, I honestly didn't even call you to express to you that I felt like you were picking sides or anything, because I don't even feel like that's that big of a deal. Like I said, relationships are messy shit happens sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, but I'm not also going to sit here and not express my emotions. Because then at the end of the day, somebody can't say, well, you never said anything. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I told you exactly how I felt when I felt it.
I apologize.
No, there's no apology. Yo, bro, I appreciate it. Thank you. The apology is appreciated, but honestly, I just wanted to talk to you about it and just tell you how I felt about the situation. I didn't expect an apology from you. I didn't expect you to say you did anything crazy wrong. I just thought like the situation could have been handled in that moment better. But the moment's over with, so there's nothing we can do about it now. I could just tell you about how I felt looking back at it. No, because I didn't know he told you all that in the moment. You just told me that just now. So I apologize for dumping this on you like this, but you know I'm an upfront person, and you know I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel.
I get it. I don't feel any sort of way. Just, considering by reflecting backwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just didn't want you to get the wrong idea, like, oh, I don't want to ever help friends out again in this situation. It's not about not helping friends out. I mean, it's about just more or less like, because right now,
if I'm being honest, I would do this again.
Yeah, because this right here, this conversation is not that big of a headache, is it?
I'd be more selective, because I know how Joe is. I know that.
Yeah. That's definitely. Yeah, but listen, at the end of the day, you can't control who needs help and who doesn't. At the end of the day, if somebody calls you, you're not. I don't want you to be like, well, this person isn't that much of a fit for this person. Not that at all. I just wanted communication. At the end of the day, I just feel like the communication could have been better in that moment, not before and not after. Just literally in that moment. If God forbid this situation ever gets this bad, something like this again. That's it, bro. It's nothing that serious. It's not like I regret helping Joe, because I don't. I would give him a job again if you called me again. I would just go about talking to him differently at the job. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that I replay in my head. It's not like, this all was a headache, so I don't ever want to fucking hire somebody I know again. Like, nah. There were certain things I did wrong, certain things Joe did wrong. Joe needs to take responsibility for what he did, but I was talking about a lot of personal stuff at the job with a friend, but maybe I shouldn't have been doing that. Maybe I should have saved the personal stuff for outside of work.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I said, the only thing that I do remember, and I'm not saying to add context, but the one thing that I will say I remember is when he told me everything and he kind of was just venting out his opinion, I remember my initial reaction to it, without wanting to say it to him because he was already on the edge and I'm just like, whoa, like you're being a little crazy right now, was knowing him as long as I've known him, I did not know how serious he took the training and fighting stuff. I know that it's really serious right now, and like I see it more, but in high school, that wasn't something that I remember being a big conversation piece or thing that he was all about. He was always super fit, but he was more like a punk rocky metalhead that was just kind of about playing guitar. I don't so to the point where he was expressing himself and saying like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, it all seemed like it was grounded in, like, I guess, credibility in his fighting background or whatever. And when he was expressing that to me, I just couldn't really recall a time that would make me feel like, man, I didn't know this was that serious. You know? But at the moment, because he was so angry, I was just like, okay, like, apparently you're really passionate about all this, and it really struck a chord with you about whatever the situation was. But in that moment, I was just like, I don't really remember you. I mean, and I knew it pretty well. Obviously, we were music together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was so surprised at, like, how serious he was, you know? So I don't know. I don't really know where that comes from, because I only recently, like, within the last, like, 10 years, I can, like, really think of, like, you know, seeing his dedication to training is, like, the type of things that he's into now. Yeah, but not to say he didn't do those things, but I just don't remember that, you know?
Yeah, but I don't even care if he did those things, because he doesn't know what I did in high school to get that fucking offended.
Yeah, that's true.
He has no idea. I made a general statement, yes, that I don't know anybody more active than me to defend a piece of something that like I feel like something that I feel like I know pretty well, which is athletes and their physical capabilities. And I felt like I was making a good point, even if he disagreed with me on the specific point, even if he disagreed with me on fucking on the amount of training that I felt, not training, but yeah, training, fuck it. The amount of training and activity I did in high school didn't measure up to him. Do you think it warranted 3 weeks of zero contact with somebody?
Right. I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, and the fighting thing, I don't know. It's always been like, cause remember, there was like a couple of years there that we all fell out, you know what I mean? So, in a
he had to take care of himself, I get it. He had to do his own thing for a little while.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, like, it was just a couple of years of falling out, you know what I mean? Just not being in each other's, you know, world, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I mean, before that, you know, we spent all of those years together, and you know, we none of us were in sports teams, none of us were in any type of thing. We did weight training together, and that's what got us to that.
And this is why, no offense, but this is why I call people like Joe a caveman. Like, he just has, when he doesn't, I feel like if he thinks too hard, he reverts to anger.
Oh, okay.
I feel like there's not a lot of, I don't want to say, because he is a smart guy. He's not like dumb. So it's not fair for me to say he doesn't use his brain, because he absolutely does for stuff that he wants to. But the stuff that when I say someone's a caveman, it's not their inability and their incapability to learn and to do stuff with their brain. It's the fact that they rather do stuff with their fists, and they rather do stuff with their head. They rather physically push something up a hill than think how to get a lever and pull a pulley together to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Joe can't think of the lever and pulley situation.
I got what you're saying.
But he's the type of dude that'd be like, no, fuck that. Roll my sleeves, I'll push it up the hill. Let's get it done.
Definitely leans into the more hyperactive, let's do it now.
Musclehead type shit. Yeah. I pick stuff up and put stuff down pretty good. Yeah. He leans into that.
Yeah, he definitely leans into the brute force of everything and the speed. And it leans into like a lot of things, like as far as making music. Like that's been always been one of the things that made us musicians. That like when we used to practice,
He releases anger through his music, right?
There's a process to writing. You don't say that a song is done when you're able to play it from front to back one time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I didn't say anything about completing a song. I'm just talking about.
I'm just putting it in terms that how we used to comprehend. But
no, I was just talking about like more or less what because musicians a lot of the times, not all of it, but most of the times draw on emotions when they write their music and they compose.
Yeah, his music is more fast and a little. And
I would say angry, right?
Style,
angry?
No, his music is actually pretty funny, honestly. I would call it more funny.
Okay, from somebody that listens to all music, not somebody that listens to rock and then listens to the words. I'm talking about if you're just scanning through the radio stations, right? You hear Taylor Swift, you hear Kendrick Lamar, and then you hear a Joe song.
I would totally tell you that's a matter of perspective. Because it all depends on the listener, honestly.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if the listener's not necessarily into heavy rock.
Well, yeah, then you have to give me more specifics. If you're just saying, like, a general, person that's not an avid rock listener, then that's a little bit different. That's exactly what I'm saying. Your music, even though I'm not an avid rock listener, your music, I would never be construed as anger. Never. I've heard Joe play. I've heard you play songs with Joe. I would describe Joe as anger, but not bad, not in a bad way, but not like in a not even in a uncontrolled or in unchanneled way. It's still like focused to a point where it's like it sounds good, it sounds refined, it sounds like it's not just like, alright, I'm just gonna play whatever is on my head, and what's on my head is pain! Like, nah, not like that. I don't think he's like that, but you know what I'm trying to say now, right? A little bit better? I get it. I mean, yes, from a
normie perspective, from somebody from the outside looking in, somebody that's not like, because if you like the genre of rock and roll, you will give most of it a shot and listen to the words, right? But if you're into the genre of rap, R&B, and stuff like that, and someone says rock and roll, you only picture one of three different types of things. You picture punk rock, You picture shit like Linkin Park, which is not punk rock. Then you picture shit like fucking wait, there's punk rock, Linkin Park rock, and then there's that old rock, like Led Zeppelin and shit. But like that's what I think of, because I feel like I'm like a pretty like hip hop oriented guy that listens out for certain rock songs. Like I'm just starting to get into more rock songs now. Not rock, but alternative, I would say, which is a whole nother genre.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a fan of alternative, but yeah, I mean, it all lends itself like to Joe's personality, his general approach to production and the type of things, you know, and that's just from knowing him for multiple years. But yeah, his style is fast and not one that he wants to think too much about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I guess, you know, you guys are both my friends, you know what I mean? And you
didn't want to play a side, but yeah.
No, I'm not even talking about the side.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, my assumption was, I'm cool with both of you. Like, on paper, I wouldn't have thought that.
But probably, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. From what Joe told you, you probably thought, oh, they would work it out. It's something that I don't even have to think about.
Yeah. Like,
I get it.
Yeah, that was kind of like my assumption. Knowing you as well, knowing that I feel like you and I, you know, even when we've had heated debates, we have the ability to be like, all right, let's talk about this rationally. Even if we have a conversation for a little bit. So
that is not what happened.
To be in the same environment, you know, I assumed that eventually, I knew Joe wouldn't be the one, but I thought you would. So that's kind of.
I tried, but he just gave me the silent treatment, Brody. I don't know what to
Yeah,
tell
I mean,
you.
if you're getting the straight up silent treatment, then there's not much you can do. I didn't know that you were just getting the straight up like.
My man wouldn't even say hello when he came into work, bro. Like, I would be sitting in the office. It wouldn't even be like, oh, saying hello to everybody and like, it'd be just me sitting in the office. He'll come in, put his stuff down and be like, yo, what do we got to do today? And I'll be like, all right, so we're going to be doing this, this, and this. And then I'll start going into something like, oh, so how was your, and then he'll start walking away. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and then I'm like, then I got the picture. So like, oh, you don't want to talk about anything but work shit. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So it made it extremely awkward.
I've
but
never gotten that side of Joe before, so for me, it's kind of, oh, I guess that's how he handles people he don't like. In the back, he can't hit, you know? Because typically it would just be a fight. You would just hit somebody and that'd be it. But I guess considering the job was on the line, couldn't do that. So I guess the next thing was just silence.
I mean, if your instinct is to punch somebody because they were more physically active than you, then when they were in their teens and you guys are now in your 30s, I don't know. Maybe you might need to talk to somebody.
No, Joe definitely has.
Like you might need therapy.
Yeah, he definitely has his own little demons and everything that he's kind of learned to cope around. You know, like considering who he was and who he is now. You know, back in the day he wouldn't have thought about like his job and just whatever. You know. So
but see, what I'm saying is the fact that violence comes up because somebody says.
I mean,
it's not. I can't even give him the benefit of the doubt, like saying that I insulted him. Saying that I don't know somebody more physically active than me is not. I can't even construe on how that can be conceived as an insulting statement. I can't conceive that. It's outside of my brain processing.
Well, I mean, fuck, man. I really wish I could remember verbatim what he said so I could maybe understand it. All I remember was just the rage, you know?
Yeah, that's why I said next time maybe we could save the relationship if you call me. That's it. Love you.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Listen, sometimes, Chris, sometimes we just make the wrong call. It's okay.
He sent me a text message saying emergency. And then called me. And I'm thinking someone's hurt, you know, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to have to work. Hurt, you know, I'm thinking all these crazy things. And then he just goes, and all I remember was the first thing he said. He's like, yo, what's up with your boy? And then he just went off.
Yo, so funny. I'm sorry you got put in the middle, but you put yourself in the middle. But I'm sorry. It was for a good cause. At the end of the day, you could tell yourself that, right? It was for a good cause, because that's what I tell myself. like, yo, I tried to help him. It was because I wanted to help. It wasn't because I wanted anything from Joe. It wasn't because I wanted to help him, and it just ended up not being the right fit for him. So yeah, it's okay, Chris. It happens. Just now know if Mitchell calls you and says if he needs a job. I know Mitchell would never do that, but we don't know where life throws people, okay? So if TJ calls you, that would be, let's be honest, if we had to put a vote on who would be the next one to call you saying they need help, we would vote for TJ, would we not?
He's a little bit more together now. I don't know.
I'm good. I'm glad he is, and he's been together for a while. I'm glad he is. I really am. We were all kind of weird. We were all kind of weird and kind of fucked up. You were probably the person considered closest to being an adult.
Was it really?
Yes. You had the moral code not to do anything wrong ever, unless it had to do with drinking. That would be the only thing that you would be like, I'm down to do that, even though you wouldn't be quote unquote supposed to. Do you even remember drinking at my grandmother's house?
Of course I do. That was fun.
Were we supposed to do that? No. Yeah, we would have a good ass time. We would have a good ass time.
Yeah, I do up in the basement.
Yeah, I remember, bro. I remember all of it, bro. I remember all of it. But you know what?
Mitchell, was TJ there?
Was he there? I think so, yeah. I think TJ was there. If Mitchell was there, TJ was definitely there. But yeah, bro. It's just crazy. But how we were all not together back then. But like I said, you were the most together because you had that long ass job at Radio Shack for the longest. And then that gave you a free phone plan, so you didn't have to worry about that bill. So yeah, you had a pretty good starting point. And didn't fuck it up.
Good on me, I guess. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess because I lived it, I don't see it that way. But I guess from the perspective.
Bro, if I took that job at Walmart as serious, remember the job I had at Walmart, bro?
Yeah, I remember.
If I took that job serious right now, I would be the manager of the store, probably making like $90,000 a year. I would have my own store. I would be a lifer. I would have a nice little retirement thing set up. I would probably be driving a BMW or a Mercedes. Yeah, I would probably be a dickhead too. An extremely big dickhead that cheats on all of my girlfriends with people that I hire underneath me. Huh?
Really setting yourself at high moral standards, bro.
I'm saying if me back then would have kept the Walmart job and moved up through the ranks in Walmart, I would have come accustomed to certain things, like becoming a hiring manager and then being able to hire bad bitches. And then trying to fuck said bad bitches. I'm not saying I would be like fucking Harvey Weinstein, like, yo, suck my dick for a job. I wouldn't be doing nothing like that, but like I definitely be like, yo, who you know need a job. Like, if you know somebody need a job, I'll hook you up, but you gotta hook me up. Like, they would already have the job though.
I guess from that side, I guess my whole motivation was I hated relying on my parents for money, so I just wanted to make my own.
I mean, it's not just about that, because I think every kid.
Well, that's what I felt the motivation was at the time.
Yeah, no, but even so, every kid wants to be independent. Every kid wants that, but not every kid has the willpower to control their youthly urges to not give a fuck at their job. Because honestly, Chris, keep it a buck with you. Every time you saw somebody lose their job, it was because why?
It's not one reason.
It is one reason, but it's broken down into separate reasons. Okay, so let me break it down to you like this. How many times have you seen someone get fired? Not like downgraded or reassigned. How many times have you seen someone get fired because they literally were incapable of doing their job? Like, they mentally, okay, this is just too much for me. I'm giving it my all, and it's just not working out. Have you ever seen that happen?
Yeah.
How many, but out of the percentages? Is that most of the people, or do most of the people kind of fuck themselves up?
Yeah, they fuck themselves up.
Yeah, but that's not the people I'm talking about that just couldn't handle it. That's not them. The people that just couldn't handle it are somebody that gets hired to be like, I get hired to be like a nuclear physicist, but I'm not smart enough to be a nuclear physicist. Like, oh yeah, I see why he got fired. Like, that makes sense. If he can't do nuclear science, why is he a nuclear physicist? Get him the fuck up out of here. Like, that's not me being incapable. That's you guys having bad hiring standards, but then firing me, realizing I can't do the job. Me fucking up is like, oh, yeah, let me just call out again, and I'm sure they won't, like, nah, this is the 17th time. You're done. Or, let me try to get away with something, or let me do that. Like, most of the times you've seen people get fired, it's because they fucked themselves up, right?
Yes. I mean, shit.
Yeah. And when you're young, you don't give a fuck. You fuck yourself up a lot more. Because you have something called pride, and you can't swallow that shit.
So you're saying I have no pride?
Huh? No, I'm saying you were able to tolerate a lot more than all the other kids around you. You were able to be a lot more mature about certain situations, because even though I just said swallow your pride, swallowing your pride is not necessarily a bad thing. It sounds like it has a negative connotation. Yes, I'm sorry, I apologize. But at the end of the day, it is what you're doing. But it's still, like, the smart thing to do.
I guess.
Like, if your boss is yelling at you, I'm sure you had your boss sit there and scream at you before, right?
No.
No? You've never had somebody yell at you?
Yell at my face, and the one time that it did, I did actually tell them to fuck off.
No, you told them to fuck off, but you didn't get physically violent with them, right?
No, of course not. That's not the way.
See, you say of course not. Like, that's not most 20-year-old guys' first instincts. Okay? most 20-something-year-old guys' first instincts, if I step in their face and I start yelling at them about the bad job that they did, they might give a little warning, but it's going to be a very short fuse to get them to actually do something physical.
That makes you sound like a bitch.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, bitches live longer.
Hold on 1 second. Actually,
Call me later, bro. I just wanted to catch you up on the Joe situation. That's it. All right, Brody. Have a good one, bro. Hope you and the family's good. Be safe.
Correct? Yes, that was specifically included
All right, guys.
in the content moderation guide.
That's the stream.
You brought this up to the Vice President of Trust and Safety, Del Harvey, correct?
I did, yes.
And she overrode.
Now we're going to be base building. We got this thing on a brand new star system.
Warning. Threat detected.
Ah, where is this? 300,000? Alright, let's get back to this video. It's been a while, so let's do a little rewind.
But hey, that doesn't matter if they actually find something, right? So how are these investigations into Hunter's laptop and FBI bias against conservatives going?
Hunter Biden.
Excuse my language, this is a direct quote, but Chrissy Teigen referred to Donald Trump as a...
Okay. Free speech. And what happened after Ms. Teigen posted her tweet? What did the White House do? What did the Trump White House do?
From my understanding, the White House reached out to ask that the tweet be removed.
At the time, Twitter's policy included a specific example when it came to banned abuse against immigrants, as they specifically included the phrase, go back to your country or go back to where you came from, correct?
Yes, that was specifically included in the content moderation guidance as an example.
You brought this up to the Vice President of Trust and Safety, Del Harvey, correct?
I did, yes.
And she overrode your assessment, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And something interesting happened after she overrode your assessment. A day or two later, Twitter seemed to have changed their policies, didn't they?
Yes, that trope, go back to where you came from, was removed from the content moderation guidance as an example.
Oh, dang! Opposite of good, apparently. That was from the House Republicans' investigation into Hunter Biden, in which they brought up former Twitter employees to testify about whether the FBI ordered that company to pull the laptop story. Not only did they find no evidence that the FBI did anything wrong, but they actually stumbled into evidence that the Trump White House badgered Twitter to remove hurtful tweets instead. And in fact, this is apparently the only evidence of government interference with free speech, or in other words, the weaponization of the federal government. Whoops! Anyway, we're skipping around a little bit here, but this all ties to the initial choice to pursue all of these super useful investigations into how they're actually the victims, despite all the many crimes their president did. Let's get back to the timeline with January 11th. Jesus fucking Christ! and see what else the House GOP has in store for us. So far, their priorities have been to launch a bunch of timely investigations and try to eliminate an entire federal agency while replacing it with 2 agencies for some reason. But at least we're still technically in the realm of efforts to govern and not performative measures. More specifically, we're in J11 town, baby, and on this J of 11, the House passed 2 bills on abortion. The first one, introduced by Representative for Louisiana's 4th Congressional District, Mike Video Game NPC Johnson, condemns attacks on anti-abortion clinics and calls upon Biden to protect the rights of such facilities, which is weird, because Biden is actually already doing that in a way that perhaps is bad, actually. But if you were this Mike Johnson fellow, you'd think you'd be happy to know that Biden is already on the case, and you wouldn't need to introduce a new bill, would you, Mike? A bill that, by the way, doesn't condemn political attacks on abortion clinics. It's almost like this is totally performative and partisan. They get to say they tried and say the Dems love political violence when it doesn't pass in the Senate. Meanwhile, the second bill is somehow even sillier, as it proposes penalties for doctors who refuse to care for a baby born alive after an abortion attempt. Wow, you mean that until this bill, a doctor who refuses to help a baby born during an abortion could just get away with it? After all, I mean, why else would you introduce this bill if it was already required under federal law for a doctor to care for a baby that was born alive after an abortion attempt? I mean, it's not like we, already had a bill specifying this exact thing that was passed in 2002, right? We did have that? In fact, it's already illegal for a doctor to refuse care to a baby born alive? A thing that's so rare that state records have it occurring roughly 0.02% at the most? I don't know, brah, but it seems like no matter what your political leanings are, nothing I've described here is very effective. Like, even if you were extremely into forced births, you'd probably realize that these bills don't do anything. You might also be frustrated that they are doing so many investigations that are A, pointless, and B, blowing up in their face. And perhaps, just perhaps, you might see that the House GOP appears so obsessed with partisan political battles that they aren't even trying to accomplish anything here. You see that, right? You hypothetical right-leaning person who is watching this with a critical eye? Shout out to the lick demos. A very good demonstration of the GOP going after partisan issues instead of actually governing just so happens to be from the end of January. J27 to be exact. You see, last year, the House actually managed to pass a bunch of bipartisan antitrust bills targeting big tech companies. Those were serious acts of legislation, perhaps not obsessed with the culture war. But now that Twitter and Facebook have been roped into this GOP fury over censorship, the new Republican-led House is breaking off of those bipartisan efforts to specifically focus on personal grievances they have with tech companies. For starters, the House Judiciary Committee under Jim Jordan has put libertarian tech company founder Thomas Massey, only guy to vote against condemning anti-Semitism, by the way, in charge of the antitrust subcommittee. As you can probably imagine, Massey isn't a fan of antitrust laws. And I guess based on that other nay vote, the Jews? Nor is Jim Jordan, about antitrust laws, probably only that, who had spoken out over those past bipartisan efforts. And so instead of actually going after these companies, he is expected to focus on superficial culture war issues instead. Most likely because behind the scenes, Jordan is pretty friendly with big tech. His campaign was donated to by Google, after all. And so in other words, one of the only bipartisan efforts into antitrust measures is being hamstrung in exchange for petty partisan squabbling. Specifically, so that the government doesn't actually challenge the power of these big corporations. Specifically because the people in power are being lobbied to look the other way. I'm not editorializing here. That's just what is happening. So, if there were a running theme to this last January, it's the GOP House doing absolutely nothing effective in terms of any governing or even pushing their own political agenda. Did anything I described, no matter your political party, seem effective from any angle, does it not seem like they are being distracted by their own culture and partisan wars instead of actually doing effective lawmaking? But good news, February is a whole new month.
February, the one that's hard to spell.
The Jays weren't great, all right? Let's be honest here and admit that. But we've shaken off the cobwebs, and now we can roll up our sleeves and really get our entire fists into the stuff that matters.
My amendment gives the committee the opportunity to begin each of its meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'd like to offer an amendment to the amendment, adding in the second paragraph where the chair may designate an individual to lead the Pledge of Allegiance to add the following language. Provided, however, the pledge shall not be led by an individual who supported an insurrection against the government of the United States in any way. I'm asking Mr. Gates, will you now accept the amendment?
Well, I'm concerned that you may be disqualifying too many of your own members, Mr. Sisson.
I'm not concerned about that at all.
These people are so embarrassing.
Okay, so great. On February 1st, Matt, somehow not in jail Gates, led an amendment to require the House Judiciary to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. That then sparked a near hour-long debate that boiled down to two grown men saying, "I know you are, but what am I?" Not that there's really a winner in this, but Gates did eventually get his way, having the Pledge of Allegiance cited by Staff Sergeant Corey Ryan Beekman, who he referred to as an American hero, and who, and this is real life, Gates would later learn is a murderer. As in, Corey Ryan Beekman was literally arrested for killing one person and wounding another, and is only not in jail because a witness refused to testify. So that's how February began. And boy, I can't imagine it's gonna get any more embarrassing and performative than that, right? He asked, knowing that on February 2nd, the House Republicans would hold a vote to, quote, denounce the horrors of socialism, which, as you all know, is an extremely pressing issue right now. What with all the socialists running around and pushing old people down. I can't stress this enough. I'm just saying aloud what the GOP House is doing with their time. I guess this was supposed to be some kind of gotcha for the Democrats, who mostly agreed to vote in favor of the anti-socialism measure anyway, because of course they did. Okay, so we're more than a month in, and they've done very little, even in terms of performative politics. This is pretty weak. Like, seriously, reading the Pledge of Allegiance? What are we, 6? What are we, 1/3 of Matt Gates' preferred dating range? Okay, can we please get some real stuff done instead of reciting textbook patriotic cliches like we're buying time in a social studies book report? How much longer can they stretch until actually doing something real?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union.
Are you f***ing me right now? Is this a prank show? Am I on camera? Oh, yeah, okay. So, after an hour debating the Pledge of Allegiance, on February 7th, McCarthy and other GOP House members spent 43 minutes reciting the Constitution. And I really feel like I should remind you all that we're the ones paying these people. Dude makes nearly $200,000 a year on salary. And assuming he worked the same hours per year as most people, which he definitely doesn't, but assuming he did, that means we the people just paid him like $100 to stand there and read what is ostensibly his job description. And then like $43,000 for everyone else to listen. It really does seem like they are stretching for time, doesn't it? And to be fair to them, any bill they pass is doomed to be performative, because the Democrats have the Senate and White House. Nothing they do really matters. But what's amazing is that, despite their predicament, you would think that they would be able to pass legislation within their own party, right? Like, maybe the House GOP bills won't result in anything, but they should still be able to make those bills as a unified group, if only to demonstrate their governing ability, or at the very least, their governing intentions. But I think the reason they're so obsessed with these performative stunts is because, as we would learn in the month of February, they couldn't even manage to stop fighting amongst themselves. After all, this entire thing began with a fight nearly breaking out, and Kevin McCarthy ceding tons of power to get his vote. And so, for example, a bill was introduced to require firearm background checks to report if the fire is in the United States illegal. Seems like an easy one for Republicans, except in this case, their hate for immigrants was conflicting directly with their love for firearms, and the far-right lawmakers within their own party ended up blocking the bill. No Democrats needed. It would happen again, this time with an immigration bill that the mainstream GOP feared went too far and would end all asylum. Remember, border security was a big deal for Republicans during the midterms. They all ran on it, so you'd think they could at least do something performative to show that they are trying. And yet, on February 23rd, they once again failed to pass a border security bill amongst themselves. Remember, this has nothing to do with Democrats getting in the way. This squarely comes down to these so-called rhinos representing the establishment conservatives and the MAGA Republicans who refuse to see any ground. It's like if a group of bank robbers took turns taking each other hostage. Also, in late F, is when McCarthy released the January 6th tapes exclusively to Tucker Carlson, which sure feels like part of some kind of ransom deal. It's fun how he's trying to claim he's doing this because the footage, quote, belongs to the American public, as if Tuckums is going to impartially pass on the tapes in the pursuit of truth, which he did not. Terrible government we have is my entire point. This is all very pathetic and sad is my additional point. So that's the timeline. But luckily for you, there's more show. And after the break, we're going to zoom out to the larger GOP and look at this internal battle that's going on. Perhaps look at the Senate while we're here. You know, if we're feeling a little naughty, which we stay tuned to find out we are or aren't.
You know, a postage stamp is a lot like a small business. It's tiny, but important. Often square in shape, and you can lick them or burn them for heat. And if you have a small business, you might want to check out stamps.com. They give you access to both UPS and USPS services with deals you can't get anywhere else. All you need is a computer and a printer, and you can create postage for any size business. Because a business needs to be treated like a plant. You water it, you watch it grow, and then you eat it when it gets too big. You eat it with fire. So, set your business up for blazing success when you get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with promo code MORENEWS for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code MORENEWS. Start your delicious and flammable business off the right way.
Thanks for staying tuned, bucko. To answer that cliffhanger of whether or not we're naughty. Maybe. Okay, so up until this point, we've talked about the internal battle within the GOP-led House, and how it's pretty much resulted in a series of performative measures mixed with completely ineffective legislation. To be fair, so fair that it'll make your tits explode. It's not like this wouldn't also be the case if the roles were reversed. If Democrats only had control of the House, a lot of their actions would most likely be performative as all hell. And recognizing that doesn't really take away from the point of this video, which I will get to. But what I think is unique to Republicans is how chaotic things have gotten within their own party, not just in the House. What we're seeing here in the House feels like a microcosm of the larger issue they are having, which can be summed up nicely with this image, followed by this image, followed by this headline. And just for fun, let's follow it up with this unrelated image. Summer baby, look at him. What a prick. See, while he certainly wasn't the inventor of it, Trump boosted a very toxic philosophy on the far right. Specifically, the absolute refusal to work with the other side or even acknowledge objective reality if it meant conceding even a little bit. He was the king of partisan politics, triggering the libs and so on. And for him, it actually worked at first. I mean, let's be honest, Trumpism got him a single election, but doesn't look like a viable long-term strategy. But separating the man from the message, I think the GOP was really hoping that the midterms would tell them if Trumpism is a viable strategy. And I think they didn't get their answer. It really varied depending on the area. Some Trump-backed candidates failed miserably, while in other places, anti-Trump lawmakers were replaced with pro-MAGA ones. We got Ron DeSantis over there bravely fighting gay teenagers, and who appears to be weird neck and weird neck with Trump. But only sometimes. He was ahead, and now Trump is ahead. And in fact, Ron is now trailing behind Joe Biden, and that guy is a sack of wet bread. Hey, imagine if the Democrats actually ran an exciting candidate next election. What a neat idea they totally won't do. Ah, the power of imagination. But what that shows is that while both DeSantis and Trump are courting a whole lot of MAGA talking points, it's still not really enough to get them far ahead of one of the most boring Democrats ever. But putting aside the next election, the other thing that Republicans, at least the serious ones, probably want to accomplish is anything. Constituents tend to favor you more if you do your job and actually help them. But in order to do that, they would then have to work with Democrats. So there's this conflict between the hard right, trigger the libs, MAGA base, and the need to actually accomplish goals for the areas they represent. For example,
pressing for a timeline on cleanup at Jana Elementary. For years we've reported about the issues on the Florissant campus due to radioactive waste. Well, today we spoke to Republican Senator Josh Hawley. He's proposing a bill that will put $21 million towards cleanup at Jana and schools just like it nationwide.
So, first of all, what? There was an elementary school in Missouri that found World War II-era radioactive waste on the premises? Seems bad. I mean, unless we got a bunch of little X-Men out of it. Did we? It's not possible. It's actually very dangerous. Don't joke about it. Okay, well, we'll see. And this Josh Hawley fellow is correct. He wants to clean it up. And in fact, wants the effort to extend to any elementary school that has this problem, which I sure hope is the common one, actually. Again, unless we get X-Men, which sounds like it's fake. All right, well, whatever. Except the cleaning is going to cost money, isn't it? And so, going back to that news clip,
we asked Senator Hawley exactly how he plans to fund that bill, considering his party proposes federal spending cuts.
This Justice Virginia bill obviously has a lot of people talking. How do you plan to get funding for this, especially since Republicans want to cut spending?
Well, the bill would appropriate the $21 million, I believe it is. It creates a fund that would be available not just to Jana Elementary, but to any other school around the country that's faced this kind of situation where the federal government has essentially created a nuclear waste site near a school.
Hey now, he didn't answer that question at all, did he? How does Josh Hawley, a Republican, plan to get this money with his own party so adamantly against spending? Well, here's the amount of money that it costs, is my answer to that, apparently. It's almost as if, when it comes to his own local community, he recognizes that you need to spend money in order to fix things, and perhaps it's bad to draw this hard line against any spending. Hawley's only ally in this happens to be a Democrat who also represents that state, which means that, in order to accomplish something real, a goal that needs to happen, they have to actually work with each other, like co-workers, who get paid to do their fucking job. But then compare that to all the other recent things that Josh Hawley does that gets way more attention. Accusing the DOJ of spying on Catholics, proposing that America bans TikTok. There's this balance where, in order to stay afloat, they feel like they have to do loud culture war things while quietly trying to cover. Like if you, hypothetically, showed public solidarity to MAGA insurrectionists who were trying to attack those same co-workers while actually running from them when you thought no one was looking. Just another example of the power of imagination. Look it up. It's really good stuff. Even when proposing an objectively good idea like banning lawmakers from trading stock, Hawley presented that in a partisan package by calling it the Pelosi Act, as if only Democrats are doing that, which is super not the case. It's like having to wrap a pill in bacon so your dog will eat it, except the bacon is more pills because you don't actually want the dog to eat the pill. You want to make it seem like you're trying to do something, wrap it up in partisan nonsense so it doesn't pass, and blame Democrats for it not happening. The more they say the word woke, the more they can go after the evil Dems, the more they feel like they are reaching their base. Not to mention that it hides what they're actually doing. Biden's push to build more computer chip factories? Totally woke. Why? Because he wants to spend some of that money ensuring the factories have unions and child care. How woke of him. Military spending, you say? Well, make sure we cut all the woke stuff. For the record, they don't really seem to define what that means, but McCarthy has pointed to efforts to look for alternative fuel sources and diversity in recruitment. So it's all just the same unpopular shit in a new package. Anti-union, anti-environment, and I guess anti-non-white people, all conveniently under a vague term that they can use to do whatever they need, even if these things contradict each other. In fact, military spending is a good place to really see the internal conflict. Republicans love military spending, right? But, darn it, thanks to wokeness and also Ukraine, a lot of the far-right lawmakers now want to see budget cuts for the Pentagon, ironically aligning them with progressives for entirely different reasons. And going back to Josh Hawley and his proposal to spend money on school cleanup, there's an even more notable conflict between their broad policies and beliefs and what actually needs to get done. No better way to see that than how they talk about Social Security and Medicare. For all of his faults, and he has a lot of them, Hawley has been clear that he doesn't think Social Security or Medicare should be considered when talking about the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling, if you're horny for info, okay, is the legal limit for how much debt the government can accumulate. If we go over that limit, we're basically saying if we can't pay back our debt and pushing the economy into a recession. We avoid this by having Congress vote to raise that limit. And because the GOP has the House, their vote is needed to do this, which gives them their only edge. This is pretty much the only thing they get to negotiate on. And so, of course, their conditions for raising the ceiling is that we also make spending cuts. Keep in mind, those cuts don't help the debt ceiling. That's money we already spent. But because they are into fiscal responsibility, they make this a part of the conversation. It's sort of like if you got to raise your credit limit by promising that you reduce your personal spending. The problem is, of course, figuring out what spending to cut. Going back to that credit card analogy, that might be easy if you were buying frivolous items. But what if everything you spent your money on was important? You know, suddenly you have to decide between cutting your rent, or utilities, or food, or humble figurine purchases, and there's just no easy answer there. I mean, unless we lower defense spending. But of course, we're not going to do that. Josh Hawley knows his party will allow that. And what's incredible right now is that the GOP doesn't really seem to know or agree on what to cut. They have this bargaining chip and no idea how to spend it. Which is why, when asked what we should cut, he went on to say, quote, namely, we have got to stop these woke policies. We have got to stop this kind of radical agenda that is so unpopular with the American people, that is bankrupting the country and costing us jobs, particularly blue-collar jobs. And, what policies do you mean? Are you going to specify? Can we have a list? Do you have polling data about the unpopularity of those policies? What jobs, Josh? Seeing the debt ceiling is one of the only big talking points these GOP sad sacks have right now. But they don't seem to have any idea what they actually want to cut, something they don't even need to do. Some of their ideas include cutting pandemic aid or, once again, the IRS. But that's not really enough. So if you aren't cutting the military budget, since that conflicts with your ideology, the only other thing to go after is Social Security and Medicare. But that's not popular and can be used against them politically, which is probably why Joe Biden called them out on it during the State of the Union.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority.
Now, he may be old and his balls probably don't work, but he isn't wrong. Some Republicans have absolutely gone after Social Security and Medicare, and they often couch it in weasel words to make it seem like that's not what they're proposing. Paul Ryan ran on nerfing those programs, and he was nominated for vice president. And here's what appears to be some kind of sickly amoeba comparing Social Security to a Ponzi scheme. What does the word Ponzi scheme mean? A
Ponzi scheme is a system. If you and I cooked up a Ponzi scheme, we would have current people pay into it. Right? We would take the money and we would pay it out to other recipients. That's the definition of a Ponzi scheme. Right. In the English language, that is exactly how Social Security is.
So I'm going to take that as a yes, that you believe that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
I think there is an effort to treat that as rhetoric, but there's no doubt that's what it is.
But big thanks to the amoeba who doesn't know what Ponzi schemes are and doesn't know how Social Security works apparently. Good thing that creature has not been voted into office. But what Dusty Bone Biden is probably referring to is Rick Scott's absolutely terrible plan to sunset all programs every 5 years unless lawmakers stop what they are doing and re-vote for those programs to remain. Because small government is definitely going to throw more bureaucracy into the process. Besides the plan seeming ignorant of how the government has operated since forever, Biden's pressure made Scott hastily remove Social Security and Medicare from that proposal. McCarthy has also said that these programs are off the table, but no one finds that reassuring considering how little power he clearly has and, history of words said by people in his party. So we're back to square one, with the GOP having no idea what to cut. And I really can't stress enough how much this specific problem shows a direct conflict with what America needs and what the GOP's strict policies are. By fetishizing these unmalleable rules, they are limiting the actual power that government can have. That cut-go system I mentioned earlier is a good example. You can raise taxes or you can cut spending with the pay-go system, but you can't do both those things with cut-go. It's a very myopic view of governing that makes them unable to handle looming problems. Right now, Social Security and Medicare are slowly running out of money. The reason why is a combination of Americans living longer and, more notably, our tax rates dropping since those programs were signed into law. The answer is obvious. You have to find money to give to those programs, and the easiest way to do that is to raise taxes. Tax on the people who can afford to pay more. Oh, wow, what a idea. But their ideology says that they can't raise taxes. And if they are unwilling to look at the military, there's nothing to cut either. I mean, they would love to cut social safety net programs, but they know they can't. A lot of their ideas, like this one from the Republican Study Committee, boils down to them simply wanting to raise the ages and put a bunch of restrictions on these programs that seem to do very little except piss people off. Probably not a lot of steam behind the candidate telling people they have to work harder and get older before they get the things they were guaranteed earlier. And so ultimately, they just kind of short circuit and start talking about wokeness. Russ Vought, who was the former head of Office of Management of Budget under Trump, has become a very big influence when it comes to the GOP's budget plan. And why shouldn't he be? Because the debt exploded by over $5 trillion on his watch? That's a good reason why we shouldn't be. Nonetheless, old Rusty is pushing a plan that includes $2 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, over $600 billion in cuts to the Affordable Care Act, $400 billion cuts to food stamps, and a bunch more cuts to the state and labor departments, as well as cuts to education. It is a bad plan, and it almost completely relies on fantasy. For example, Russ estimates that cutting these programs will boost the workforce. His reason given to directly quote his proposal is that the combined elements of the proposal spending reforms, which include reforms to means-tested welfare programs and entitlements, will ensure that Americans are empowered and encouraged to manage their way through job transitions and ultimately return to the workforce to provide for their families and households. In other, more meaningful words, by denying people a safety net, he thinks that will force them to go back to work, a thing that is objectively not true. Also, it's not like unemployment is even a pressing issue right now, so I'm unsure who exactly he imagines being forced back into work. Feel free to look into all the other assessments of this plan and how it's very obviously gibberish. For example, its projected growth is like 10 times higher than any realistic projection. But the main reason I brought it up is because of the title of this budget plan, which is, no f***ing joke, a commitment to end woke and weaponized government. You know all the best budget plans use the word woke literally 77 times in it, as well as mention critical race theory 18 times? Putting aside your views on CRT, Do you think that has a really big and important impact on our budget? And that's how monumentally unserious this has gotten. The debate over the debt ceiling and budget cuts is being hijacked by GOP freaks rambling about wokeness. And I think the reason why is because, at least right now, they truly have those serious ideas. Anti-wokeness is like a rodeo clown desperately trying to distract everyone from the sobbing cowboy. Or more accurately, a rambling old guy playing his greatest hits of personal grievances and fear-mongering.
They are people that don't get it, although in some cases they get it. They get it for their wallets. But we can't do that. We can't let that happen. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists. We will throw off the political class that hates our country. They actually hate our country. I will only tolerate the deep state. Hunter Biden is a criminal and nothing happened to him. Nothing happened. And his called The Laptop from Hell. And Miranda Devine did a great book on that. And she actually thanked me. She said, I got the name from Trump, but Biden openly held back $1 billion taxpayer. Old taxpayer money. The racist Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, who is presiding over one of the most dangerous and violent cities in the United States. You get the good principles then. Who loves the children more than the parents? If any principal is not getting the job done, the parents should be able to fire that principal immediately and select someone new. Continuing the work of our 1776 Commission, we will teach our values and promote our history and our traditions. How do you do it? I could never do it. This is one of the toughest guys. I said, maybe you could. He said, nope, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. But I do it for you, and that's what I'm doing it for. I do it for you.
That's Trump, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, speaking this year at CPAC, and it really shows the problem. He went on for like 2 hours like that, just recapping all of his usual talking points and adding a few new ones in the mix. And like, did any of that hit on any serious issues facing this country? Or was it perhaps a speech made from the last Republican president and current favorite for 2024, entirely based around the exact same spite and emotional talking points as always? That's pretty much how this last CPAC went. Just a best-of compilation of GOP infighting, right-wing grifts, and gripes about the liberal woke boogeymen coming for your family.
In case you didn't notice, the liberal media's heads are exploding about my run for president.
We understand based on the
Yo. What up?
What up? Black?
Domestic terrorists.
Black today's the day, bro.
What's good, Brody?
Not wanting their
Today's the
children
day that I
to be
spent
indoctrinated with critical race
$233
theories.
for a recolor that actually looks extremely nasty.
When
I
good
say
for you.
nasty, I mean amazing.
I know you bought the race one.
Not yet.
Downward spiral toward socialism and end the self-loathing that has taken over our country. I'm running for president to renew an America that's strong and proud, not weak and woke.
The left has told us something that should put fear in the heart of every parent, and not just parents, every single person. They've said they're coming for our children, many of them because these victims of this billion-dollar industry that mutilates the genitals of children, many of these victims have diagnoses of autism, mental illness, they have depression, they have anxiety, they have psychosis.
The number one thing that we can do to make sure that our values exist into the future is fueling the patriot economy. Just this week, I mean, this wasn't even going to be my speech until yesterday. I started a news app with my friend Taylor Butterwich.
The liberal lefties want to eat your kids' genitals.
Better fight back by purchasing my news app. It's just the same old stuff. Wokeness, the left, and very few actual serious ideas about how to run the country, or at the very least, keep the country running. Really, the only issue they seem extremely passionate about is making trans people's lives either way worse.
Oh my god. Oh, he stole Rafe, bro. Come on, you bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he has the heirloom. Never mind.
That will make it a felony
And like maybe 200 more kills than I do.
Transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology.
Pathfinder is an insane legend right now.
What a bunch of
The blind guy buff. His tactics or his Q is still amazing.
They are waging a singular war based on propaganda against an already vulnerable group. And so on top of not having any solutions, they are actually creating additional problems. And I honestly think they are doing this, besides the fact that they are aforementioned Nazi freaks.
Yeah, but like I'm about to get back into like serious Apex like I used to be.
Fighting with the most extreme members of their party who seem to care more about the culture war than actually governing. And this has gotten to a point that I honestly don't think they care about actual issues.
Of course, he got punched out because the devotion to dick and balls.
National divorce between Democrats and Republicans, when the actual separation needed is clearly within the conservative party. Like, I know I said that the Democrats would be just as performative if they only had the House, but at least they would still try and focus on serious issues. And I know that because, if you recall, they were in that exact position when Trump was in charge. And despite doing a whole lot of conservative things, they still managed to pass a lot of bills, serious bills, aimed at helping Americans, including the PPP loans. And they did this with much less infighting and bizarre rants about imaginary enemies. And can't stress this enough, the Democrats aren't Nazi fucking freaks obsessed with eradicating the
I love things in this game that are just always in a good mood. It makes you be in a good mood, you know?
Wants to exist.
Alright, kinda.
Totally not calling for genocide.
Like use Watson, Boba, sort of, I guess. Who else is always in a good mood? Octane. I already said Watson, Pathfinder, Fuse. I think I said Fuse, Newcastle, Lifeline, Gibraltar. It's just a gang of letters that's always in a good mood. And it just makes you like enjoy Apex simply from their voice lines.
This anus is a weird Nazi at worst, and at best, completely unable to propose solutions that would actually help the American people, who, largely speaking, just want freedom and happiness and not to be genocided.
Black, stay close, I'm the gym master.
And they want to
This is my third time with a catalyst on my team. And I can't tell if she's in a good mood or not. Or I can't tell if they're in a good mood or not.
No idea how to actually do that. And so,
you know, you gotta add a transgender character just to...
Holy moly, check out this anus.
Ma, you gave birth to me 17 years old.
Hey, what do you mean I'm thinking about it? You gave birth to me 17 years ago, didn't you? She's always laughing at me.
What, did you just hear that nonsense?
No.
My mom just came here and asked me if I was 17. You gave birth to me 17
she
years
had
ago,
to,
didn't you?
she had to double check.
Oh, yes, I love you too. In response to you saying how proud of me you are. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel that the video's on. We've got a podcast called Even More News. We've got this show, Some More News, as a podcast, where all the podcasts are. Look over there, where the podcasts are. We've got merch at a merch store with merchy kind of images on merchandise. Check out our patreon.com/somemorenews. And check out... I didn't plan this.
Like I was fucking watching Apex in school. Oh my god, this fucking tryhard I was watching. The movement techniques and shit he was using, it was fucking insane, bro. Like my mind was blown. Black, you wouldn't believe the shit I saw, bro. about to get dressed though. Wait. Alright. Bro, you're not serious. You're not serious right now. You're not serious. Bro, come this way. Come this way. I mean, oh my God, you're not serious. You're not serious. Like, why did my screen go black then? Flooded merger with the Secret Service. Shit is so obvious it defeats the purpose. If this is your hobby, then come and meet your maker. Yeah. The streets of Jamaica. Started at the crib, look how far this shit will take you. Ross in 235 acres. And that's facts. Brown girl Muhammad like my third cousin. Facts. All my Rolls Royces got a different body. Actually, Blood.
Yeah.
You like a little bit of Drake, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Rick Ross too, right?
Not so much.
Have you ever heard the Lemon Pepper freestyle?
Not a Rick Ross fan.
You've never heard the Lemon Pepper freestyle? Oh man, Black.
Is it new or old?
Like around 2020, 2019.
I probably heard it.
Mozambique? Bro, there ain't nothing good in here. The R99, I need that. That's the best SSG in the game right now. Then I gotta get to my damn teammates because they're getting roasted. Now get out, who you thinking? Yep. Yo, oh my fucking god, bro. Like, why is there 4 people chasing me at once? Guy is literally not real. said I had it before I got it. Now I got it on. Being honest, I don't really want to talk about it. And if I didn't have it, wouldn't want to talk about it. Wow, really, bro? You just left me in a match by myself? $4,000 damage in one game. Imperial Guard.
Some people saying like, invoking Satan, not cool, that sort of stuff. What do you think about that? I really don't even pay attention to them even saying that because I just say whatever I want. My song, my freedom of speech. I come from a real religion. I just like being ready, living my life, like being like a guest. So, no, I actually kind of just say like, anything I want to say. I don't, even if I offend people, I don't mean to offend people. But, if they don't like it, they have the option to turn it off. I like that, man. So you think they need?
Wow. Phased out. Just raised, bro. There he is.
Ah, 4 o'clock.
Fuck you, Watson. That's why your parents died.
Read the jury. Find the defendant, Kyle's Nasty, guilty of microphone echo in the
Devin Booker and Jenna Ortega were seen having dinner together last night.
What'd you say?
Devin Booker and Jenna Ortega were seen having dinner together last night.
Yeah, good for them.
Finally, somebody got a hand on that girl. Finally. Maybe stop. maybe I'll stop seeing her on Instagram. Niggas slobbing over
No, she's gonna get cheated on in like a month.
Devin Booker.
I said she is gonna get cheated on.
Devin Booker? I don't think he cheated on him, honestly. I don't know.
He's an NBA player, bro.
You have a point. That's not him. Why the hell would that be him? You know what? I want to go to Fragment West just to see if that's him. My teammate wants to go to the Boy Dodge. That's where we're gonna go. What? Do you know who R-Fade is?
No.
Got to use Apex user? No, right?
I don't watch streamers, bro. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit? No, I don't even like you a little bit. I'm changing.
Navigational data received.
Six planets? Yeah, I can do that.
Holy moly, check out.
My strange 60-second routine to drop weight fast. 1, I wake up, I have lemon water to help get my metabolism going. It helps age digestion.
No.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
He's not an important part of the company that I can have that conversation. You thought he was more than me?
He really like.
I got. Oh no. None of you even know what any of that means. Guilty as associated with the show. I talk about quite a bit, but the dude is a little bit.
There's some plausibility to that. There's some things I have to reveal about.
Reveal
that.
If you swallowed everything in the boat, you might as well not even say you got down. My friend, you might as well not even say you got down. There should be no reason why I go in the vault and the only thing in there for me is a tool helmet. Yes. No.
Extreme temperature detected.
Face out there right in my own office.
No, dude, I didn't. If I did, I would have said something.
Well, then there's a bunch of people on the Discord who are tragically misled, and some of them are people that I trust.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mikey's in the Discord. Like, did I say?
It feels kind of crazy that all of these people would just like try to frame you. You know, it seems a little bit more likely that you're just talking to.
I
mean, there's been a lot of, like, shit. I'm not trying to throw nobody under the bus, but I didn't say, like, what you said, that shit. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't, fool. Like, I would have told you if I did. Like,
I mean, it's gonna take you providing the entire Discord chat and pointing out line by line things that you didn't say that I'm being told by multiple people that you did say.
I can show you the entire chat. I didn't say that shit.
I honestly think, at least for now, maybe we can come to the bottom of this at some point, but it's probably better that you just leave.
Jesus. All right, man.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not expect this to be a narrative that was taking place today, but we got to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm just super disappointed.
I didn't do that.
Okay. You guys can end the stream whatever, but
For those of you that don't know, Lush made his own Discord where he only adds people he can trust. It's a select few members. AD confronted him about it last podcast, but brought it up jokingly. Now someone told Adam about what was being said, and the person who told him everything had other people back him on things he said. Damn. What happened? What was leaked? How much you got paid was leaked? Wait, where? Show me! Tell me when I got paid to be on No Jumper. NJ Reddit lore. I heard he told everyone that Destiny's getting 5K an episode, which was for 20, which is 100K, but hey, who knows? Also heard he said the N-word and said they were getting extorted, and then legit told people things Adam's doing private word for word. Bro, listen, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because I'm cool with everything, but No Jumper doesn't even cover my travel, okay? I don't get paid shit for going on that show.
Oh, sure, Steven, sure. How much did you get? How much did I get? Let's leak right now.
Okay, say it on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nothing.
Stop it, dude.
If I got paid, I would say it. I don't know if I've ever gotten paid for any. Sometimes people will cover travel and hotels, but I don't even think I've gotten that from any No Jumper appearances.
Oh, is that guy like an employee?
Yeah. Adam confirming on another podcast he fired mine.
So, you know, with you doing that, do you feel like, you know what, it's over with, our whole relationship is done? Do you feel like it's just no get back?
oh no, we're done. Yeah, that was like, yeah, that's like the kind of shit that you can't come back from when I realized that's how you're moving. And there's been a bunch of shit that I had to kind of like, you know, not care about when I was hearing about this fool just talking too much in general. Like, he was really living his whole life on the Reddit and just tweet too much, all this shit. And AD was just saying it, that me and AD both had said to him, like, you gotta stop living your whole fucking life on the internet and all this kind of shit. And then, look at him. Look what got him caught up. Like, you can't say that we didn't give him good advice, man.
I told him. Back. Golly.
So, you know, with you doing that, do you...
Lush back. Oh, Lush pack. Lush fired soon. Don't hold your breath, baby girl. Damn. Why did I not fire Lush? Apparently, Lush was saying a whole bunch of crazy shit that he was told in confidence to other people on another server or something.
Can you hear us, Adam?
Adam.
Yes. Uh-oh. What's the deal? What's up, Adam?
Uh-oh.
Hello, Punk Together. What's the word, bro? What's the word? How y'all living?
We living good. We trying to get to the bottom of this, man. What's up with you?
I don't know. I just scarfed down some steak. I couldn't even wait for it to digest to call in to the stream.
Fuck, was that a joke?
Why are they so... Damn.
Yeah.
I should have fly.
Well, actually,
I'm trying to see what's up with you, though. What's up with
how
you?
you doing?
What's up with you in the school day shit with AD? What happened?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I talked to AD about this earlier, and I expressed my sincere regret about the fact that he had to find out about anything critical that I had to say about him at all in such a, you know, terrible way. Because, you know, the thing that, like, okay, the thing that was stuff that I said was the thing about I'm sick of hearing the same fucking 4 jokes every week or some shit like that. That was like the rude thing that I said to us that I probably wouldn't have said to AD's face necessarily in that way. Even though, to be fair, that is kind of like one of the things that me and AD have gotten into it on the show about over the years. That's really where the tick meme came from in the first place. So, I don't know, man. I feel like I've never even been in this position before where I was having a conversation with somebody that I trusted, and then I got to find out that they were just blabbing it, not just to like one person, but to like a whole fucking room full of people that he doesn't even know. Like, I don't know, man. It's just...
All right, look, Adam, that shit cool. That shit cool, right? Playing victim and shit.
But...
you know, everybody know that watch the show. I don't fuck that victim shit. Cool. Nigga, you was talking about the nigga behind his back, bro. Why'd you even go to Lush? Why'd you just go to your mans? It's your mans, homie. Why'd you just go to your mans and tell them how you felt? Why'd you go to Lush?
I mean, you're framing it as...
I'm not framing it as nothing, bro.
I'm not back.
That's what you was doing. You talking shit about... Don't tell me what to do.
Ooh. I see it as
you talking behind Cuz back
with one of the co-hosts. I was having a conversation with one of the co-hosts about something that was, you know, obviously a very big decision that I was considering making.
So why didn't you talk to AD?
I mean, I was talking to Lush about it before I had the conversation with AD because I had been thinking about having the conversation with AD for so long, and I thought that Lush was somebody that I could, you know, have the conversation about while I was contemplating this big decision. You know, I thought that I was talking to somebody that would never fucking repeat that shit to anybody, and I didn't even think that needed to be said, you know?
But you do understand that shit wouldn't have got repeated if you would just went direct to AD with it. That's all I'm saying. That's your man. That nigga, he stuck it out with you in the mud during quarantine. All that shit. Why doesn't go to him direct, bro? That's all I'm asking. Why didn't go to him direct?
The fact that I consider AD a friend and the fact that I have loyalty to him as well and that I still wanted to continue to work with him on at the end of the day shit, on the We Hungry shit, etc. That's why I even felt the need to try to find or to have the conversation with Lush about the fact that I was considering making this very big decision, you know?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure out why you just go to your mans. You know what I'm saying?
So
if I got a problem with AD, I'm not going to go to Flacco. I'm not going to go to...
the same type of way. Me and you supposed to be way better than that.
That's all. I'm just trying to figure out why you just go to him.
Way better than that.
That's your mans, bro. You can talk to your mans.
Like, nigga, I'm prepping for your wedding right now.
Let me just say this. So when you guys canned the other guys, Crazy Cut and the other dude off the show, did you guys have a conversation about that?
We had a real conversation.
Hell yeah.
That's why they was canned.
Okay, so that's what I thought I was doing when I was talking to Lush. It turned out I was talking to Lush and the whole Discord chat, but I thought I was just talking to Lush.
Yeah, but we didn't go to nobody. We went to them direct. You feel me? We didn't go behind.
No, you guys had a conversation about it before you went to them, right?
No,
that's what it was.
We
Like
got
an internal decision.
No, we had a conversation on the spot.
Adam is I don't think Adam can ever look good in this. But I mean, like, they're probably lying, and that's probably true. Of course, you're probably going to talk to somebody else first to get, like, feedback or feelings, or, like, that's probably pretty normal. But, I mean, like, I just think you're always going to look bad, right? Like, if I was thinking about, like, firing August, I'm probably going to go talk to, like, RTBA or something. I don't know. Like, I'm probably going to talk to people first. It's probably just going to happen.
I guess soliciting advice from people is bad.
Yeah, like, if that leaks, I'm going to look like a horrible person, you know? Like, you're talking August to RTBA, why the f*** did you do? Like, well, I mean, like, bro, what do you mean? I'm like, he's just not what he used to be, you know? He's old and used up. After I saw how crazy Farrah could be with her edits, I'm thinking, why do I even pay August, you know? True.
We had a conversation on the spot.
Was it shit talking when I asked Josh what he thought about it behind the scenes?
Hey,
I don't even know why it looks bad. I fucking hate workplace drama culture. But I think the difficult thing with like YouTube and all this shit is that it's like we call it workplace, but it's also like friendships too. I think that's the thing that makes all of it so like complicated and confusing. Is that like none of this is just straight work relationships. A lot of it is personal as well. So it makes everything really, really, really complicated.
Spot with them on the spot.
So you're saying it's
right after the stream, right after the stream.
In advance.
Yeah, it's your man.
Talk to your friends about a decision that you're making.
It's your man, bro. You feel me?
Yeah, and I was talking to my other mans about a big decision that I was considering making business-wise.
Listen, man, Lush just came around, bro. Lush just came around, bro.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this is your man, bro. This one got in the mud with you, bro, when all the shit was kind of like, going down for no jumper, and it was just kind of stuck at a weird space. He got in the mud with you and helped you and did what he could do and put it on his back with you. Check on y'all beefs, did all that real shit. So you should at least give him that respect to talk to him like a real homie and not.
I mean, he's gonna talk about it. I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think Adam is always gonna look bad here, but I don't think he's actually done anything wrong. Like,
I go confide in a nigga who just started working for you a year ago. You feel me? And have to hear it from him at Discord. That shit look crazy, my nigga. You feel me?
Well, the Discord part, I agree, is insane. But, you know, it's like at the end of the day, I was just having a conversation about a big decision that I was considering making behind the scenes. I mean, this is the fact that it got out there is insane. But let's keep in mind, why did it get out there? It got out there because Luke Lynch lived thick shits and Lush has a big mouth.
Hey, man. Shit should have went straight to 80 years old.
Man, listen, at the end of the day, nigga, you know how that nigga, my mama heard that shit too, nigga. That shit is foul as fuck, Adam. I'm gonna keep it gangster with you, bro. Nigga, I would never, ever in my life do that or do, if I ever had
I know AD has probably talked to his friends or other people in this space about what he thinks about Adam, and it probably hasn't all been the nicest shit. That's absolutely happened. There's no shot. There's no shot otherwise. I don't believe it.
The problem with you, I come to you all the time. I tell you this shit.
But, bro,
I always do that shit, bro.
Bro, the fact that I have so much love for you is why
Nigga, if you had love for me like that, bro, you would have came to me like a man and said, AD, I ain't feeling your performance right now. Nigga, step it up or we gonna replace you. Keep it gangster. Let your nuts hang. We ain't never had that conversation, bro. You have never had that conversation with me. You ain't never had that conversation with me, bro. You ain't never had that.
You and Lush in the you and Lush were in my office a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, having that exact conversation.
That's because of the blowback of the other shit. You was threatening to cancel all the shows. That had nothing to do with AD.
No, we had a meeting where we tried to have a conversation about the quality of the podcast, and I'm going to be real with you, you weren't terribly receptive.
What do you mean?
Uh-oh.
I mean, you just seemed to think that it was all good, and I was suggesting that I felt like we had to work on shit, and I just felt like I wasn't really getting like a real conversation about how we were going to do so.
The problem
at a certain point, I kind of, and let me be real too, is like the whole thing was that I had somebody else that I wanted to bring onto the show, and I wasn't, I didn't feel comfortable adding a fifth mic, and that's why I was going through it in terms of like being just stressed about even having that conversation with you.
Adam, since day one.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
But what you see now, you was afraid of, you got rid of your mans and you was going to keep a snake. These are your words, you call him a snake. You got rid of your mans and you was going to keep a snake?
Hey, that's fine. I agree. That's exactly how I feel right now.
Oh, man.
Hey, man.
And I'm gonna keep it real. And I told you this earlier. Since day one, you never wanted me on a Tuesday show.
Oh.
Let's keep it real. You said, hey, you're temporary. Listen, you said temporarily until y'all find a replacement for Cam Girl, AD can stay. Then later on, shit started going good, and it was talks. It was like, well, maybe we should go another direction since you got Wednesdays and it's being successful. Then it's like, nigga, once again, it's like, you never really wanted me there at the beginning in the first place. And I'm all
I feel like we gave it a shot for 3 years, and then I wanted to try something else.
Nigga, you don't think I brought nothing to the table or brought viewers and niggas was with me on the Tuesday show?
Uh-oh. No, I'm acknowledging your contribution. I'm just saying that I wanted to try something else.
And, okay, and all you had to say was, hey, man, we gonna try something else. But, nigga, try to kick me out and keep my mans on there?
It's crazy.
I obviously, I don't know all the slang in the lingo, but I've only ever heard my mans, that's your mans. I've only ever heard that used in, like, a romantic setting. I didn't know people use that casually. But I also didn't know, until there was some Kanye song, I didn't know that shorty could refer to, like, a short guy either. I thought shorty always meant, like, your girlfriend, too, so I don't know,
I mean, I wasn't exactly optimistic that T-Rail was going to be down just because I know about the fact that you guys are tight and that he, King Stan would have been a weird ass look. But, that is what I said. I showed you the conversation that I had with Lush, And in that conversation, I said, yeah, you know, I don't know, it's probably not going to happen with the T-Rail thing.
Yeah, but and I feel like all that is a result of what the f we doing outside of the channel.
Let's talk about it. Is it?
Well, there's some truth to the fact that I feel like you doing like 5 streams a week or whatever was kind of making it to the point where you weren't necessarily super talkative on Tuesdays, and you weren't really even like coming to the table with a whole lot of shit, which is, in the beginning, you were coming in with, it was actually kind of absurd. You were going crazy in the beginning, saying all kinds of crazy shit.
And you know what you did?
Well,
every time that I was being myself and saying some shit, you told me I shouldn't do that no more. That's a tick. Don't make this joke. Don't do this. Don't do that. So I tried my best to sit there to follow the rules that you wanted for your podcast while still contributing and keeping that shit, bro. When that shit was golden and it was cool, it was all the crazy shit that I would say, the shit that I would mutter out, house phone laughing, you sitting there having a good time. You told me stop doing this. This is bad podcasting. This is a tick. This is this. This is this. This is this. This is this. So I'm sitting there like, you know what? This the nigga that know that shit. He want me to be better as a podcaster. Maybe I shouldn't blurt out shit. Maybe I shouldn't say no funny shit. Maybe I shouldn't do this and maybe I shouldn't do that. And then you get a product now that you don't like. But instead of saying, you know what? I don't even that shit. Whatever, nigga. Hey, you out of here. They ain't how homies do each other, man.
Damn.
Right.
I mean,
doing this like friendship plus business stuff is like so rough. It reminds me of like Fresh and Fit kind of have it too with their friends or whatever. Like if you have to make a decision on like changing who the cast is on a show like this, it seems like you're always gonna look so horrible because like it's not just employees who's people all consider each other friends, you know.
My whole thing is that I wanted to put somebody on the podcast, and in order to do so, I felt like I had to take somebody off. And, you know, these are just, like, this is business shit. Like, it's like, in terms of who's on the podcast, I got to be able to make the decision about who I want to have on my podcast, and it can't be some weird, like, loyalty thing where it's like, oh, this guy's been a good friend to me.
Bro, I don't give a fuck you keep me on a Tuesday podcast. I care about niggas supposed to be my homeboy. Nigga, if you gonna make a business move, do your business move. Do what you gotta do. But don't talk behind my back and don't talk to a nigga you just met. Don't have mother sitting there saying that shit. That make me look crazy. That make it look like everything. That make it look like everything that I did. And you know, anytime something get cracked, listen. Every time something get cracked in that office, who the nigga that go outside and do this shit and ready for whatever?
Is it you, Adam?
Right. So
no, I'm asking you. I'm asking you about some real shit.
How can you fault me for trying to have a conversation with one of the other co-hosts behind the scenes about something that I was...
Is me and your relationship like me and his relationship? I like to think that me and you was deeper than all these niggas.
No, but he's one of the other people who's on the podcast, so I was having a conversation with him about it that was supposed to be private. You know, like, when you see that conversation, it's like, obviously, because I showed, just to be transparent, I showed you the whole conversation, even though I didn't want to, just to make it perfectly clear what was going on.
Bro, at the end of the day, I didn't want none of this shit to happen. I didn't want none of this shit to be like this. I was sitting there gonna be cool about the situation, keep the shit pushing. But now I'm like, do a nigga even value me on the platform?
I do value you on the platform, but that's why I contemplated this decision for so long, and I thought about it, and I even felt the need to confide in somebody like Lutch about the decision that I was contemplating, because I knew that I was walking this tricky-ass tightrope where I wanted to do something different with the Tuesday show while still doing the Wednesday show, still doing We Hungry, still whatever, and I knew that it was going to be difficult for me to get that point across to you without you taking it as disrespect about the Tuesday show, you know?
Nigga,
so
I'm a man at the end of the day.
It was a tough conversation.
I'm a man at the end of the day. I learned a lot. Since the day that I came in that building to who I am now as a person is two totally different people. I've learned a lot. I'm not about to act like a nigga, bro. I'm not gonna give anybody the satisfaction. I ain't gonna give nobody the satisfaction that be exactly who they think I'm gonna be. We will. They gonna label me all type of shit. And that's not what happens in business and shit. So So if you would have told me on some real shit, I'd have said, you know what, Adam, that's your decision. Because when you first said it to me, what did I tell you? I kept it professional, didn't I?
Right, but then what happened after that? Because I was, this is the crazy
What
thing
happened
about
after
this
that is the
today.
niggas is sitting here saying this shit about me, saying shit about me in the Discord. That's the only thing that happened.
What I'm saying is, whose fault was that? It's fucking Lush's fault. Like, all right,
I'm not blaming
my
nobody.
plan for today. Bro, at 2 p.m. or so, I kind of had it in my head. At 2 p.m., I'm going to hit AD up, and I'm going to get on the phone with him and do a little temperature check and see how he's feeling about everything, just because I didn't want to go into this week with me not knowing 100% how you felt and you not knowing exactly how I felt. And then instead of that, when I hit you up to have the conversation, I found out that the one thing that I had said to Lush about the fact that I was considering making this decision had already been leaked to you by somebody that we don't even know, people we don't even know in real life, who he was talking about my personal business to.
And bro, at the end of the day, like I said, shit have just came to me. And my thing is too, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was just gonna quit.
How would you handle the situation on a point? I don't know. It's tricky. I mean, like, I understand why AD's mad, especially if they've got, like, a friendship going back, right? Like, AD probably feels like Adam is basically just, like, shit-talking him to, like, other employees. Like, I'm empathetic to AD's spot here, too. But again, like, you can't say, like, oh, Adam's just not allowed to discuss, like, anything that he's thinking about in terms of, like, business decisions with, like, other podcast co-hosts because they're friends. You know, it's like I said, like, as soon as you start mixing, like, friendship and business and stuff, it gets real tricky, like, really quick.
I was gonna say, all this shit, bro. I said, niggas don't value me. Niggas don't look at me like a real homie. Everybody saying, bro, nigga, them niggas, cuz. I'm keeping it real.
When you say something like that, it's like, that's why I was having such a hard time making this decision and why I
But nigga, this ain't got nothing to do with the Tuesday show. This has nothing to do with the Tuesday show. This is the fact that I didn't put my life on the line for this company, but niggas is sit there and talk behind my back like it ain't nothing. Like I'm expendable. Like I'm a piece of shit.
I talked behind your back. Who did I talk to? I talked to Lush, and you saw the whole conversation.
But that's still behind my back. That wasn't known to me. What is it called when you say something to somebody that you don't say to them? That's called talking behind their back.
So
regardless if you say it or not, you talked behind my back with Lush. And that shit got out.
Between me talking to Lush and me talking to Josh about it before I made this decision.
Nigga, Josh is the nigga that's your business partner who run this shit in the company with you.
And I thought that Lush was an important part of the company that I could have that conversation with.
You thought he was more than me?
No, I just wanted to have the conversation about a decision I was considering making.
You found out he was a snake.
I did. I found out the hard way.
We're about to
And
get
I'm
your man.
not blaming Lush.
Oh, I am.
Because when you asked me, I didn't even say Lush said nothing. I'm not even going to put that on there.
Yeah, and I had to do a little digging. It took me about 5 minutes of research to figure it out.
But nigga, nigga, no disrespect to Lush, but how the f*** you gonna put me and Lush in the same bracket when it comes to a nigga how I f*** you versus how you f*** him? Damn. That sound crazy, cuz.
Okay, but it's not a friend contest.
I don't give it's a friend contest. I'm talking about, nigga.
It's not even a friend.
I've been next to you.
On the show.
I've been next to you, you know, in life or death situations. Have I not?
Yeah, but I don't know what that.
I've been right there with you, bro. I've been right there with you, bro. Ready to risk it all. At any given time, anybody had a problem with you, I'm ready to end it all. So the fact I get done like that shit weak as.
But done like what? Like I had a conversation about you with us. Like I agree. I don't like the tone of one of the things I said in the conversation, which was just
Adam, for once, bro, just own that shit, cuz. You did me wrong, bro. Just for once, own that shit.
I had a conversation with one of the other co-hosts.
For once, just own that shit, bro. You can't even sit there and say, you know what? What you mean always trying?
You always try to.
You don't think that I got done wrong. You don't think that I got a narrative. You don't think that I got done wrong in this situation. What the f*** I do?
Yeah, you primarily got done wrong by Lush.
Bro, you gotta take accountability, bro.
I can take accountability for what I said because I said one thing in confiding in Lush that realistically is the same shit that I've said to you 100 times on the podcast.
Man, listen. I'm saying is, bro, just like earlier, take accountability, my nigga. Shit happens. It is what it is.
I just took accountability for the thing that I did, which is why I said this thing about you making the same 4 jokes every week on the podcast to Lush.
Oh, man.
I told you privately, like, that shit was, you know, I don't like the fact that was out there. It was rude. I shouldn't have said it like that. But, I mean,
Adam is actually in the wrong here with respect to AD. You don't discuss the currents of an employee with a coworker as a manager. Adam is a retard if he thinks he can defend this. He can be mad at Lush, but he's the one who fucked up. I mean, let's say me, Dan, and Moon are doing a podcast, okay? But I'm like, obviously, I'm like the owner. I'm running it because I'm the biggest name there. But let's say I'm thinking, you know, I don't think Dan's bringing enough to the table. Like, I feel like I might want to fire him. Like, let's say that I go to Moon of like, what do you think, Moon? I don't know. Like, I feel like Dan's not like pulling his weight on the show. I feel like it's not that great. Let's say that I do that. Is that conversation wrong to have? I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but then if Moog runs out and he starts talking to his Discord server, he's like, oh, like, Steven's, like, talking shit. How does this game auto-save so perfectly every time? Steven's out there, like, talking shit to blah, 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 blah. It's gonna make me look really bad. Like, oh, why are you shit-talking Dan? He's your co-host. You guys are supposed to, that's your man's. Like, then I just, like, look horrible. But, like, is it? Like, is that a horrible conversation to have? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it, but...
I mean, let's be real. It was just a conversation in private between co-hosts on a
I feel strong, man.
You're crazy, man.
Hey, man.
I don't know, man. For real. Like,
but then again, the reason why it feels wrong is because all of these people are friends, so it feels like you're shit talking behind somebody's back, right? And it's hard to separate out that friend versus like business relationship.
Crazy. Shit crazy. The more I even talk about this shit, the more mad I get about this shit, bro. Only because, nigga, the type of love that I got. Like, nigga, I'm over here planning your wedding, fool. Sitting there like, nigga, I'm doing this and doing that.
See, like, this wedding shit, like, makes it, like...
Hey, some real shit, though. Y'all niggas need to have this conversation off. Have this shit off the camera, dog. You know what I mean? Y'all done did enough entertaining people. Get off the camera with this shit now. Like, that's out. You know what I mean? Because the nigga really mad about this shit. That nigga up, but y'all handle this shit off the camera, man. You know what I mean?
Alright, yeah, it's good. That's a good idea. Alright.
Yeah. Man, that shit was finna get dark. Ooh. Anytime I know, like, nigga, my blood start rushing, my hair start shaking, I'm about to do it. So I'm like, cuz, let's get off the camera. Y'all get off the camera with that shit, cuz. That shit making me mad, cuz.
This shit crazy, bro.
That's the problem, though, man. All y'all niggas play victim up here, Flacco. All y'all. I'm gonna say it, all y'all play victim. Yeah.
This the quietest I ever heard Flacco.
Cause like...
That nigga said, oh, no.
No, bro, look, right, cause I know that
it's Flacco.
And Adam have a strong friendship, right? And, like, you know, like, I'm, right? And, like, I'm the outsider, right? So, like, in, like, that situation, like, we're, like, two friends, it's like, doing some real friend shit, you feel me? Like, as an outsider, you feel me? You know, like, you gotta be you feel me? And on that situation, you know?
I just want to hear it all out.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that Adam does is not take accountability.
Of course.
So he even gives you a little bit, like, nigga, like,
Nah, bro, listen, like, and those chat logs, man, feel me, man, like, again, like, and if the only thing I said was that, then, you know, I guess it's I, but from seeing AD's, like, demeanor, I know some shit was said, and...
Why right-wingers engage are so fragile. Real men really acting like children. Real ones can separate business and relationships.
That couldn't be right here.
I don't know, that was pretty hard.
Yo, even pun, like, kind of like that. Bro, listen, man, like, play with niggas, man. No, listen, yeah. Nigga, anybody watch Community know, hey, niggas got mad at me for speaking the truth. All I do is speak the truth back here about certain shit, bro, and I'll be like, all right, niggas say I'm hating. I ain't hating. Nigga, a blind man can see what's going on. Feel me? That's all.
Wait, Lush response.
What's up, bro? What's the deal, cuz? What happened, bro?
Bruh, I don't know, I'm up just tripping.
What happened, bro? What did they say you did that you didn't do, bro?
Bruh, I'm up that, like, I'm a little confused by it all still, like,
Uh-huh.
Hey, I can hear a gnarly echo on my voice.
Oh, you hear an echo?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Now I think it's better.
Good.
I guess Adam thinks that I was leaking info from our private conversations on a Discord, which is 100% not true. But
so
I'll be in the Discord and I'll be talking to people, but nah, like, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's really unfortunate. And it's really unfortunate, too, that shit would, like, happen the way it did. I don't know why people think it's, like, cool to, like, humiliate me like that. Like,
Oh, so
bruh,
you think that was really
nothing
unprofessional? You think that was really unprofessional? What just happened?
What do you think?
I mean, we could have handled it a different way. I mean, you know, but if he felt like he was just totally disrespectful and, you know, a snake ass nigga, you know, like he called you, I mean, you know, he handled it the correct way. I mean, but if you can go ahead and prove that you did nothing, you know what I'm saying, that he's blaming you for, accusing you of, then, you know, you definitely need that apology.
I definitely didn't do what I'm being accused of, and it's, you know, it's just like, it's a little unfortunate because I've been nothing but loyal to this platform and the people on there, and I wouldn't do no shit like that, and I wouldn't jeopardize my position or my friendship with anybody. So it's unfortunate.
So why was they saying, like you said, that, you know, me and Almighty make more than T-Real? Why would that be one of the, like, you know, quotes?
I have no fucking clue. I don't know how much you get paid.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So, I mean, Adam is standing on it like he's pretty sure, like, you know, he knew what was going on and what was
There's
said.
no way, but I'm 100% sure I didn't say that, and I probably went back to the Discord, and everyone in there is saying, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, because I didn't say that shit.
Discord. And this came after, like, the
pre-recording. Ask anyone that's in the Discord. Huh?
Did y'all discuss this on the Tuesday show?
Nah, we haven't recorded the Tuesday show yet.
Oh, okay, man, that's great. Well, break the
motherfuckers don't even know what's dealing with the Tuesday shit. None of that has even come out.
Break the news about what?
Oh, what news?
Break the news about what?
Shit in the air.
Anyway.
No, you break the news, nigga, since you brought it up. Let's see what the fucking news is. I don't know.
No, about the Tuesday stuff.
I'm just trying to see if they pre-recorded that motherfucker already. I was trying to see if that motherfucker dropping that 60, man. But that's real unfortunate, though. You feel me, man?
Let me ask you real quick. Anyone that's in there, have y'all ever told me anything in confidence that got out?
Yeah, I definitely did. I was talking to you about some shit on the phone, and you be like, yeah, man, T-Real we was talking about that same little shit.
You're lying, fool. Shut up. Shut up, fool.
You said that shit before, but look, you know what I'm saying, you know, all bullshit aside, we didn't have these talks before, whether if it's in a group chat or rather if it's in the office, rather if it's...
Alright, everybody.
You know,
I'm out of here for No Man's
right now,
Sky.
just one of those,
Have a good one. I'm going to switch it over to Apex.